because even men are doing it, and they're just not talking about it as 100%,
much. Yeah.
So let's dive into it.
Let's go there.
Okay, so if you don't know, the topic this week is plastic surgery. And Tamra had plastic surgery. And you had just your breasts done, right? That's the only thing you've had done. And you had them done how long ago?
Now it almost is 7 years ago, but when I got them removed, it was, there's the kicker.
Okay. Yeah, you got them
6 years. I had them for 6 years.
6 years, okay. So when you first got them, because I feel like one thing that a lot of people will say is, you get them for the wrong reasons, you get them for men, da-da-da-da-da. But at the same time, I do think there are women who, when they get them, in a sense, that's what they've been taught is sexy. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily getting them for men, it's getting them
I don't believe that it is for that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so that's what I wanted to ask you, is what do you believe that you got them for?
Okay, it's so funny. I literally got asked that this morning, and I had to unpack it as I'm saying it. Is like, sometimes we don't even know what our truth is. Like, we've been conditioned with these messages about what is femininity, what is sexy, what is desirable, what's beautiful. Like, there's so many messages, there's so much advertising, there's billions of dollars, trillions of dollars put into these messages over the years for consumerism to make, unfortunately, women and girls feel like they need to change and alter themselves to buy into that concept, right? And it's reiterated through advertising, marketing, and thus into social media. And I'm not going to lie, as much as I was in an empowered state when I got them, I was under the impression, and at the time I was in bodybuilding, and that's like a pervasive messaging, is like, to get symmetry in your body, you need lean and these like giganto just mountains on your chest. Course. They're like, if you want to win, and I come from a competitive athletic background, so I'm like, of course I want to win. I want to make it to the top. Well, then you're going to need these big old tits. And it's like, all right, I've worked my ass off. I got the money. I had insecurities. It's like, it just played into that. And it had nothing to do with wanting to be sexier per se or for men. It was like, I thought I was one-upping my competition. I thought I would finally become the so-called total package that I wanted to be, where I really was putting up these walls so that no one could hurt me again. Because remember, like, I come from a sexual trauma past, and I think, like, when we really start to, and I don't know if anyone's truly done these studies yet, and I'd be really interested in seeing what the numbers are to, like, the amount of women that change and alter their bodies through plastic surgery, like permanent changes, things like that, to being affected by whether it's like molestation or rape or whatever the causes, the actual things are. It's somebody like altering your state of how you view yourself at a young age. It leads into very deep-seated scars of insecurity that you feel like you are only worthy based upon what you can give to people physically or be admired or seen as desirable, and what you can offer them in your physicality. And that's so unfortunate for women, and it's so unfortunate to feel like you are only your body, and you're only what you can show or give. And it fed right into that insecurity. And then, like, I used it as a way to be like, it makes sense that I'll get them, and it won't be because people think I'm insecure. It's because I'm really trying to do big things in this industry. And I had great intentions, like, I set out to do this social media thing and the bodybuilding thing into, like, showing women that we can be things other than the normal sexuality. So I thought, like, building muscle and creating this,
because
like,
you were doing a different variation of it.
In my mind, I'm like, it's strong, it's like, there's a lot of people who don't like strong women like that, so I'm going against the grain in that way. But in the opening up of my soul of taking them out, the realization of, like, oh shit, like, I was just a product of that whole messaging. I was a victim too of that, and it's been a hard realization because, to be honest, I feel some sort of guilt and responsibility of talking to these young women about, like, I wanted to empower them, but I also felt like I pushed a message of, like, needing to be
this ideal.
Yeah. And, like, what is ideal? And what is sexy? And, like, what is it for? Because in my best peak shape and physical abilities and this persona I had built, I didn't feel my most womanly. I didn't feel my most sexy. Like, those come from an intrinsic place that I'm still unearthing, and I feel more and more in line with it the more and more spiritual, mental, emotional work I do, understanding the traumas of my past, you know. And I think those allow me to really go, like, what makes me a sexual being? Because that's when you're most in tune with, like, your womanhood and our divinity and our power here as, like, as a woman and as a spiritual being, you know. Like, it doesn't necessarily come from having, like, voluptuous tits and a big old ass, because that wasn't even in 40 years ago. And, like, they felt very feminine. It changes.
It's a trend. Everything
all of its
is a
trends
trend.
and fads. Absolutely.
Yeah. So before we get into that, because that's a whole nother thing, when you sips wine, let's go back to after you got them done. Did you feel great? Like, what was the feeling? Like, because for me, right, I've always actually wanted fake tits, but I never got them because, why did I not get them? I guess it would have been more money. Really, nobody ever, like, just said, hey, I'll buy you some tits.
You were about to invest in
I'm like, $10,000, you could suck my dick. Like,
I wish I would have said that.
Yeah, because I felt like if somebody has a problem with my tits, like, because I mean, I was like, well, I'm small, but, like, I don't know.
Do you feel like you were born with that sense of confidence, though? Because I had zero of that in my head.
No, because I was not told that small. I was made fun of by my family.
But did you have any kind of messages or did you have ways to tell yourself that, like, who you are, as beautiful as you were, and, like, that you were enough? And
you know, it's weird because I do have this, like, I do have, I guess, a confidence, but I've never realized that it was a confidence because I have a lot of insecurities.
Right.
So for me, I've always hated the fact that I'm tiny up top and big on the bottom. I feel like I'm two different people. Like, you know, like, I'm a heavy girl on the bottom.
And don't you feel like that's in right now?
Well, yeah, it's in now, but back in the day, nobody liked that shit. They were like, you're a white girl, and what the fuck, you're fat. And I'm just like, and you got no tits, and, like, you know.
Isn't it crazy how things change like that?
Yeah. God. I know, right? Like, I'm fucking fads. But it's like, but my thing is that I definitely felt that Britney Spears, like, those people I idolized, you know. And to me, it's hard because I wish people would talk more about it. Like, there's no way that, like, out of all the Kardashians, one of them hasn't had an issue with surgery, right? And besides their fillers that blowing up because we can see it, but, like, what about the real issues? Because everybody this is a big thing, and I think we're promoting, like you said, we're promoting something which is, I would love to look perfect. That's how I think about it.
Whatever that is, because everyone has their own idea.
Right, in my mind of how great
their
I
version
look,
of the perfection of themselves.
Perfect, right? But then, the other day, actually, I was watching your story.
Oh, mine?
Yeah. Okay. And I had been talking about to somebody, like, actually I think it was Sarah, because we were watching TV and Sarah was like, I like this girl because she looks more natural. And then I had liked the other girl who was Shay Mitchell, and she's just so beautiful. And she's like, she's just more looks Hollywood. Yeah. Okay, but she's right compared to the other girl. She did. And I was like, but I just think I just wish I could look like that.
We all have that gremlin voice in there that's like, but it would be so
much
better.
Can I get the extensions? Can I get the fake lashes? Can I get the cheekbones? Can I get, I don't even know if she's got surgery, but regardless, makeup, whatever the fuck.
And it's that messaging for us that we just think, if I just had that little edge, that little this. But if we dig down to the core of that, like, what is that messaging telling us? Like, if I just had that, then what? I'd have a leg up in doing what?
Sucking dick? I'm already really good at it.